I am Michelle, and it's actually Styler. I know, crazy, not related to Ben, unfortunately. That was fun to play up, though, for my time that I lived in LA. And here we have some awesome panelists, and we're going to get into some intros for them as well. But I am a director of brand partnerships and media sales for Hang Media. My guess is that a lot of you have not heard of them or know of them, and that's okay. We are a baby startup going on year 3, almost 4 of being in the marketplace. And so you may be wondering then, what is Hang Media? And essentially, if you want to think of it as a elevated platform of Zoom, essentially we have decided that and identified that there is a consumer expectation and need in order to have a deeper connection with some of their favorite athletes, maybe some coaches or on-air personalities and talent. And we basically create that space for them to come and have an open dialogue and conversation with their fans. So it is not just a typical chat feature or that sort of one-way street of communication. These fans get to be on video and on audio with a moderator as well to help kind of guide and lead a conversation, but getting to kind of ask their questions to some of their hometown heroes directly and do all of that while watching some of their favorite games and or sporting events. So happy to answer more questions if you guys have any on that later, but without further ado, we will get into the rest of our panel. So if each of you want to introduce yourselves and then give a little bit of an explanation and context to your role and responsibilities that you have.
Sure, I'll start. I'm Aaron Magness. I head up marketing efforts at Thistle. Thistle, if you don't know, we were founded in 2013 with a mission to help people get and stay healthy while improving the sustainability of our food system. And after a bunch of early stage pivots, because on-demand food delivery is extremely hard, the business you know today of a meal subscription service, we're about in 2018. And outside of that, I have the best beard on this whole panel.
That's for sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Schwartz. I lead brand marketing and strategic partnerships at Canva. Canva, I'm just curious, does everybody know Canva? Okay, most people know Canva. So, I mean, in this group, that's great. Sometimes I get a lot of blank stares. We are obviously a tech company focused on accessible design, and we are based in Sydney, Australia, but have a small office here in the Bay Area. And I've been with them for the past 2 years.
Hi, I'm Oksana, head of insights at the Clorox company, which is a Bay Area-based consumer packaged goods manufacturer, the maker of Clorox, of course, but also brands like Kingsford Charcoal, Hidden Valley Ranch, Fresh Step, Cat Litter, Glad, and one of my favorites, Burt's Bees.
So a lot of diversity just from a touch point standpoint across the board of different platforms that are available to reach for your different audiences and the ways in which that you're connecting with them. And obviously a very big topic that we were given, keeping up with consumer expectations. Very broad and certainly a lot of different ways that we can dive into that, but we kind of came together and had a discussion on a couple of different key points. So to kick things off, obviously if you're going to try and tackle what a consumer expects of you, you really need to know who that target consumer is inside and out. And with the continued rise of social platforms like TikTok and of course all the live capabilities that so many platforms have, there is this sort of level of an on-demand fulfillment, and that people want to know things, be able to look up things and view them and see them now. So how are each of you looking to address that challenge in your respective marketplaces?
I'll jump in. Like we're small, right? Like from a headcount perspective, a little bit rounding errors of our friends here, but so I think our thing to focus on is, what can we do really well versus chasing all the shiny objects. And to be honest, right now, that's not a lot of things, right? So we're very heads down, very focused. I think Steve Jobs said something like 90% of the success you have is the things you don't do, right? So like we're a big believer in that. Don't get distracted. Understand who your customer is. For us, happens to be primarily female. Understand what her wants, needs are, and then how do you do that better than anyone else? We're in a somewhat crowded space. Fortunately or unfortunately, over the last few years, many of our real or perceived competitors have gone out of business or quietly, ended. And I think our attention to focus and focusing on the customer, and we're in meals, delicious food, most important than anything else. That's something we keep pushing on. So it's like, staying away from the distractions, hyper focus on our customer, and how do we make sure that we can wow her at every experience.
I can build on that from kind of the other side of the coin, because it's wonderful to have such a clear vision of the target audience. And then on the other hand, you have brands like Clorox, which are in 9 out of 10 households in the United States. And so you do have that challenge of mass marketing. But the way we've been solving that challenge in the last couple of years was through personalization. So Clorox was on a mission to acquire what we called 100 million friends, meaning consumers whom we knew by 2025, and that goal has in fact been reached by 2023, so 2 years ahead of target, which led to record ROIs that we've seen from our media delivery. But more importantly, we hope that meant for the consumers, each interaction felt a little more relevant, contextual, and personal, so that they might have a similar kind of experience like Aaron's customer might have, where it's a smaller, really well-known audience, because we would take a very large audience but speak to each in a personalized manner.
At Canva, it's definitely a challenge because we really are for everyone and have such a diverse customer base, which is incredible. But one of the things we really do to try to meet customer expectations is with our content. And so obviously one of our unique differentiators is having millions of content pieces and templates that you can start your designs with. So one of the things we do is really dig into what people are looking for and make sure that we are continually updating and providing new and fresh content that meets their needs. So if we're seeing that this season, everybody's all about creating invitations for Valentine's events, we need to make sure that we are bringing new, fresh perspective to that. And then sometimes things pop up that we would never expect. Seasonal events are obviously expected, but various trends, and we can find out that, our customers are really big fans of certain video games by the kind of things that they're searching for. So our content team is kind of the ones that are getting that insight firsthand and then acting on that to make sure that we're meeting expectations within the app and product.
So trends is something that's definitely come up a lot across, this entire even panel today. But we had talked a lot about identifying health and wellness as a huge trend in and of itself, as well as AI. But first, I would love to ask you guys what your perspective is on, determining when or what trends to lean into versus what to not.
Again, for Clorox, we are on a mission to help people to be well and thrive every single day. And so then well-being is very central to that. And one way to think about it is what is going to change and what is not going to change. And so invoking the words of Jeff Bezos here, he said, if you want to build a lasting business, don't chase what is changing. Think about what is not changing. And so for Amazon, it was people will always want the widest selection of goods possible at the lowest price possible, delivered to them as quickly as possible. And just think about 2 decades of incredible innovation built on those 3 very simple insights. And so similarly, the wellness journey that people are on, that is a constant. But it's also important to keep tabs on what is the current articulation of that, what needs do people have now, how can we help them meet those needs. And what I think is interesting this year, which probably started maybe 2 years, but now it's crystallizing, is that the goals are getting more specific. People are becoming more educated about the specific areas of wellness that they want to pursue, and they are able to articulate clearer expectations of themselves and of what supporting them might look like. So if in the past, consumers might say, I'm trying to eat healthier, whatever that means. I'm trying to work out more, whatever that means. There wasn't much depth or concreteness to that conversation. These days, they will tell you specifically, these are my nutrition goals, these are my fitness goals. I have goals around sleep, also focus and productivity, also stress management and longevity. Not every box for everyone, but that kind of tends to be that group of health and wellness goals that comes to the forefront that people are able to articulate more clearly, and that is helpful for marketers because then you have a better idea of what the needs are and how you can speak in those needs. So it's that interplay of health and wellness journey that is not changing, something that people have always wanted, but in what forms do they want it now?
From a trend side, I think one thing exciting for us, because of how we were founded, like we were early on, that we think overall we believe in science that eating more plants is better for you than eating more meat, right? We also know that the more, depending on if you're more focused on health or you're more focused on sustainability, it doesn't really matter. The common denominator is eat more plants. So I think for us, our focus is not to deviate from that, not to chase the next fad diet. That's not really helpful for us. We just have this steady drum. Should eat more plants. Thistle's for people like me. I love a good steak. I love a good burger. I know I should eat less meat, right? So that's who our core customer is. And then similarly on the sustainability side, like we are also not going to greenwash what we do. We're super fortunate that we're a business that if we grow, that means more people are eating more plants, and that is better for the environment. So that also means, though, we're not going to, switch to a compostable container that just because it says compostable. But we all know 98% of all compostable materials end up in landfills, right? So we're not going to do the things that are maybe the trend focus of that point. We're going to stay true to who we are. Hopefully you agree with it. Hopefully we back it up with enough science for you to understand it, and then hopefully you come along on our journey.
Keep going.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. So, and pivoting then to our kind of second key topic that we had identified, as far as what consumers' expectations are and how, new technology plays into that. And so, as it's been mentioned in a couple of other segments here, but hard to not talk about and address AI and what that looks like, how you guys are adopting features of it, how you're utilizing it, or how you're looking to maybe utilize it more in some of your marketing efforts moving forward.
I think you're the farthest along.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I think obviously Canva's platform incorporates a lot of AI and actually has incorporated a lot of AI since I think 2019. We just really started talking about it this year because everyone else was, and it suddenly became a hot topic. But I think one of our approach to AI has really been integrating it into our product and workflows so that it's just another piece of technology. Like I don't think about the types of technology I'm using all the time when I'm using websites. I don't think of like what's behind the UI, right? Like I don't know, I'm not a coder, I don't know about that. But now we're starting to all think about that more with the kind of the conversation around AI. So we have a lot of our products are integrated, have AI integrated into them already. So that's probably where myself and my team use AI most, is just within Canva. We have both open AI, some of Google's AI, and then our own proprietary AI technology that's all built into Canva. So things like just starting a document or turning a document into a deck that are all powered by AI are like some of the tools that we use every day and that are accessible to everyone within Canva. So it's made it easy for me because I think right now there's like a shift of, okay, how do I do this? Like, do I need to proactively think about how to integrate this into my workflow because everybody else is doing it and I recognize that it adds value, but I'm not really sure. And it's like a new behavior. It's not like we're all used to going to Google for a quick answer. So this is like a new behavior, but I've been lucky with, kind of working at Canva that since we obviously work in Canva too, it's right there. So I haven't had to make the mental shift. It's been made for me within the technology.
So that's really cool when AI is integrated into
Yes.
the actual product that you're
Yes.
bringing out into the world. I cannot say that that's the case for most Clorox products yet.
You never know.
But it has been absolutely transformational in terms of workflows and marketing workflows in particular. And as I reflect on the journey that we've traveled over the past year alone, it's absolutely astounding. So we woke up in November in 2022 to this news of ChatGPT, and at the beginning it looked like an interesting gimmick, like it can answer my emails for me. I don't have to read any boring attachments anymore. I'm no longer sure that's such a great thing, actually, because having AI answer my emails leads to me getting a lot more emails back. So no, but jokes aside, it became much more than a personal productivity thing. It is transformational in the marketing tech stack. So again, thinking about personalization and engaging in a much more kind of small batch individual manner with tens of millions of consumers, that opens tremendous potential for creative differentiation and from better tailored messaging. So that's one camp where we've seen AI and Gen AI in particular make significant inroads. Another one is my space in insights. So we went from information analysis and synthesis with Gen AI and machine learning tools to now they are writing interview scripts, to now they are actually running the interviews, to actually some of it is moving to interviewing AI who predicts how a consumer would respond, a certain type of consumer, instead of doing kind of trying to find X number of people for every question that you have. So this is still a journey in progress, but it is very clear that AI is transforming the world of innovation, picking out trends, back to the beginning of our conversation, quantifying those trends, finding their tipping points, ideating, where it will assist you with idea writing, with concept writing, with testing those concepts, with making sense of those results. So it's only been a year, but it feels like so much is changing and there is so much potential in this space still for marketers.
I think there's a couple interesting things, particularly on the consumer-facing side. Like all of us that are in marketing and all of everyone else who's in sales, right? Like we all talked to people 4 years ago, we're a data science company and you should use us for X, Y, or Z. That same company 2 years ago, we're a machine learning company and you should use us for X, Y, and Z. And then this year, that same company, we're an AI company, right? So like I think there's a lot of misunderstandings in the marketplace around what different tools do. I think these are great examples of real world. But I think when you go back to the consumer of what they're looking for, I think is the end of last year, I won't make up stats, but it's something like the vast majority of people, when you go to a website, you accept all cookies. The same vast majority of people, when they open an app, they ask app not to track. And that same group of people get really pissed when they get an ad that's not relevant to them, right? So you then, and then the added step is, I'm sure I can find a whole, this isn't a bash on TikTok, it's a great algorithm for the right reasons. But you can find a whole expert algorithm chain on why you should eat nothing but meat. And then you can find the exact same one on why you should eat nothing but plants, right? So like I think when you think of how we're trying to sort of feed the insatiable appetite for additional content, the white page issue, that's where we're really using it. But at the same time, trying to be super intentional so that we're not going off the rails and just spitting out a whole bunch of stuff, because that's what people want to consume. Because I think a lot of people have access to all the information. They may not be the most, we as a people are not super intelligent, right? So like we get access to information that all of a sudden we're experts at everything. And I think that's also becomes a bit of a challenge, particularly in today's use of AI, where all of a sudden you can have someone who's 14 thinking that they're an expert on a thing. So we have to figure out how to work with it and not have it be the arbiter of information.
And so kind of building off of what you were just saying there and, enabling and working with more kind of creators across different types of platforms. Can you speak to how you are incorporating that into your strategy and how that kind of goes along with your maybe larger brand goals?
I'll start easy because, again, fast, we're super narrow, right? So we don't chase the next thing. I think Snapchat, we have people here from Snapchat, it's a beautiful, amazing product. I don't have enough resources to, really take advantage of it. TikTok, incredible product. I don't have enough resources to take advantage. Insert whatever. I know there's a bunch of AI for out of home. I think out front is somewhere here, right? Like there's all sorts of really cool things. But we are just really, the horse in the horse race with the blinders. And that's a little dangerous, but at the same time, it's allowed us to be super focused and hit so many of our goals that I think we would have missed otherwise.
Cool. On the creator front, yeah. I mean, for us, we are so much a platform for creators that a lot of our content is focused on rather than like leveraging creators, we are more trying to figure out how to educate creators and showcasing. We've been really product forward for that reason, just because there's so much innovation and so much of Canva that everybody doesn't know, that's been the key focus. So, and I think especially in the past year when we have like launched so many new AI features, it's like our drumbeat is really that and less around sort of the individual creator personalities. We leverage creators to talk about the innovation that we have, but beyond that, we I think have done less with them than I would like, but it's really just been a matter of focus and where our marketing priorities are, which is really trying to get more people to understand the vastness of Canva and different use cases.
For us, creative optimization, we have a program called Test, Learn, Scale, which does what it sounds like. We would take a hypothesis, which might be this piece of creative or that piece of creative, this audience or that audience, this channel or that channel, run it when it's rainy or run it when it's sunny, run it in Chicago or run it in Austin. So a myriad questions based on so many signals, and we just test and learn. Once we find something that works, we extract the underlying insight behind it, which might be about how weather patterns influence consumption of charcoal, or how cold and flu season patterns influence purchasing of disinfecting wipes, or how certain adaptation of content resonates or doesn't resonate with a certain audience. And once we've extracted that nugget, then we scale it to a very, very large audience and repeat and repeat and repeat. And so again, back to the AI comments, the advent of technology enables you to run thousands of these programs a year and continuously build on it. And some of them are built together with creatives and creators, so streamers on Twitch, Instagrammers, influencers, just so many opportunities.
Well, I know that we are also the group that is just before a break, so we wanted to make sure that we left some time for any questions from the audience as well.
I am just curious in terms of keeping up with expectations, and you will have some diverse communities with different expectations from Gen Pop. I'm curious how you might be addressing some of the other ones, demographic, psychographic differences.
We have a couple interesting ones because we're in the food space, right? So there's a lot of oddities that happen. So, well, one thing was interesting during COVID. Like, we're a believer that we believe in science. You should get vaccinated. We had a small but extremely vocal cohort of primarily vegans saying, "How dare you? You should not be vaccinated," right? And as a core customer, that's not our core customer. Only 9% of our customers identify as vegan or vegetarian. So, but it is really interesting where here we think we're doing a thing, but this community is like, don't do that. Or similarly, soy and tofu is a great protein ingredient. And then we've got a bunch of people who said, "Oh, you're giving too much protein. You're going to raise the estrogen in my, kids." And I'm like, "Come on, man. We're just trying to eat here." So I think, the key component
Can't
of
win with everyone.
can't win.
For sure.
I think that's the key component. Is like, what are you true to? What do you believe in as a brand, and how do you show up intentionally with that, rather than trying to please everyone? Because I think pleasing everyone, you're gonna chase your tail until you're out of business. So that's how we've had real life use cases that have been like, we all start to swirl, and I'm like, it takes a second to say, hey, what are we really trying to do here? Ignore it. Let's move on. Focus on what's important.
Yeah, and like the relative, everybody's going to have an individual expectation.
Yeah.
So it's hard to generalize, but in that kind of case, it's like you have to look at the data, right? And decide like, okay, this is a vocal but minority. And if it's not something that's like speaking to your values, then it's okay to be at odds with them.
Right.
That's tough.
Oksana, the way you described your use of AI kind of blew my mind. Can you describe a little bit of maybe some of the platforms that you're using or like how you're staying on top of this? Because I'm sure we've all had conversations about AI, and I think yours was probably the most well-formed or like most useful.
So I felt so lucky that I was in Insights and at that time in analytics space when this whole thing started, because when everybody started waking up to the potential of AI, and I would get a question from my management, hey, which of your partners or tools are AI based? I would say, we have 0 that are not in insights and analytics space. So that was kind of the tip of the spear, one of the sub-disciplines in marketing that started that journey long time ago. And so we were ready, and once better tools came out, it was easy to embrace those tools, both from this perspective of understanding, but also culturally. This wasn't new news in the insights community. And sometimes I find it's important to find in large organizations, what is the tip of the spear that will drive the change? Who is closest to being ready? And build a momentum from there. But I think also just the emergence. So, same as you said, it's interesting to see this progress. For me, it was interesting to see the rapid progress in marketing technology stack, and just how quickly proliferation happened, but also how well it all works together. And it will be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years, where there will be some manner of vertical integration, because right now a lot of marketing stacks are kind of a quilt of many different solutions and providers, but the space is still new. So like everyone, we are paying close attention to where it's going.
And I encourage all of us, if we're probably the vast majority are, but like just sort of forcing, like as marketers, we're all cheerleaders, right? So like, how do you get behind and excited about a thing? It's like for us, an example, we look at this like ad drop ratio of, if this meal happens to be on the menu next week, what is the expected rate, and then how many actually add it, how many actually swap out of it. And so we're feeding through into models that take into account the meal name, and all the ingredients to try to tease out, because we had some misses where it actually turned out it was just the name, not the ingredients composition. So as we start to think about the meal or menu creation from our culinary team, like that is helping us move forward, but also then from my team, driving how do we sell this product, right? And using these efforts, it helps the culinary team, which then all of a sudden the data team gets super excited about, and they can start to pull this forward, and then it all starts to snowball together. So a lot of fun stuff out there.
That's super cool.
Great,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.